There's no public comment. No one put it forward.
Budget.
Tonight's the approving the budget, right?
Correct. We all, so, here you can look, I mean, we can look at, here's another one, if you guys wanna look at it, we didn't print. There's,
I print my own.
Alright, cool. Okay.
Yeah, we on.
All right, it is June 12th at 6:00. I hereby call the Cleveland Fire Rescue Board meeting to order. Right, for the next one.
National anthem.
Or that.
man, if you're gonna sing that, I'm gonna cry. I'm like, man, you were hungry. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I almost started singing it.
That was awesome.
I almost started singing it. I'm like,
The camera.
Okay, any changes to the agenda?
no, sir.
We got correspondence from Columbia County.
Correct. We received this on June 9th. They acknowledged that they accepted our signature for the ASA, and they also acknowledged that in July, the attorney for the Columbia County will be reaching out to the attorney used by the fire districts, and they're going to amend some of the contract that had some either clerical errors or just some disagreement on our part with the county, and we, all the fire districts. So we figured since we received it, we put it in for correspondence, 3 bids.
So we put in, they accepted it countywide and all that good stuff.
Correct. And it is, as far as I'm aware, all the other fire districts signed as well.
Okay, sign.
Yes.
And then I know Miss did.
Yeah. Any public comments?
No.
Okay. Local 3215 report.
Anybody online, kid?
No.
Okay. Volunteer report. Okay. Consent agenda, minutes from board meeting on May 8th. You want me to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Discussion.
Is Mark on?
I think so. It just says MG.
Mark, can you hear
Yeah,
us?
I'm here. Yeah, I can.
Is the image trend a yearly or is that monthly? Monthly.
No.
No, we missed it
Right.
yearly.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's expensive for a month.
No, that's,
It's just big slates.
They're dim. I think they can control them. We don't have that ability, unfortunately.
What was our time on that ambulance? The true north or?
Oh.
Line, press line.
Less than 6 months, but it was a demo. They already had it in the queue.
I would say it's quick or.
It is, and we're gonna talk about another one that won't be budgeted for, so we'll talk about that in our chief's comment, chief's report.
Anybody have any questions?
This financial report is good through fourth month or?
It's this one, the budget versus actuals through March.
Yeah.
They just finished April yesterday.
Okay. I've been on a property tax collection, we're down 500,000, we still got a few more months. To hopefully collect some more.
We received a payment last month for. I think it was like 40,000, and they kept saying that we're supposed to get others. I check every week, and so far nothing, but then we still have 3 weeks left of the month, so.
How's this year shaping up for cold volume versus?
So as a, well, that was our chief report, I can answer it, we're, looking, we should between 6,400 and 6,500.
That about average?
It's been, we've been kind of plateauing at that for the last about 2 years. But the next three weeks, act like the last week, then we might be at 66, 6,700 calls. We ran them up there. The guys ran 45 calls in 48 hours over the weekend. So we keep having traffic accidents apparently.
I have a question, probably for Kim. Under revenues. Top of the page, account 4205, fleet maintenance revenue. You know, this is through March, it shows a revenue of 8,412. Under the next page, under expenses. There's vehicle maintenance parts outside work, account 6,002. Shows an expenditure of 15,013 and 67 cents. So that's part spot, we got 7,000 plus dollars not been billed out. On the outside work.
That's because this report reflects the money out going through the end of May, and not every receipt has been accounted for. But I can ask the accountant about that and get back to you.
Curious. I would at least expect the fleet maintenance income to match the parts expenditures. Ryan.
Okay.
I made a motion, I don't think anybody seconded it, yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
The other thing is ODF tends to pay in big lump sums, like every few months too, so that the ODF payments may have not filtered through yet.
Okay.
I may know Rick, Kate will ask KT about it.
I'm gonna
Okay.
stay with slow again.
Let's be this.
Chief Officer report.
Okay, I'm gonna try to keep this short, but I wanted to just do a quick summation. So obviously you gentlemen have been here now, this is your third year for sure for you and Austin and,
I'm finishing up second.
second, so we're starting the third year. So, clearly 2 years ago, we borrowed money to make it through. Last year, we went through, we started July with about $2 million. And we made that $2 million work for us to get us through. And we still finished the year with about $1,900,000 million in the account. We're projecting as of right now, starting July of this year, with about $4.5 million in our account. So the goal is to end when tax season comes in November with probably $2 to $2.5 million. That's our goal. Now, obviously, clearly things can happen. You know, some expenses would come up. We had another AC take a dump on one of the stations. So little stuff like that comes up in summertime, right? As soon as it gets hot, turn on the air conditioner, stop working. There have been some. I wanted to thank the board and also our staff and Kate, Jeremy, Ray, the battalions. It's been a wild ride. We were at the brink, and I think we've come back from it. And so to go from where we were borrowing money 2 years ago to the fact that we have, we're starting July with roughly somewhere between $4 and $4.5 million is huge. And whilst we don't spend a lot of money between July and November 1, we still have to do payroll, and there's still, ambulance products we have to buy and to keep the lights on and stuff. So it's been the collaboration and the coming together between us, Local 3215, the board, and the staff has been nothing short of miraculous. I mean, the people were expecting us to fail, and we didn't fail. And then I think we've shown that we have resilience and that we can manage ourselves, and then with the help of the board, we can keep ourselves on track and move ourselves forward. With that being said, as you guys are aware, we're going to be purchasing an ambulance this new fiscal year, 25-26. I am going to engage with Crestline again. They have another demo that we would receive the ambulance before the end of next fiscal year. If we don't, then you're looking almost 2 years out for an ambulance. It is a lot. It'll be another demo, but we have to tell them shortly if we want it. And if we do, then we should have it about this time next year, which would be huge. We are going to have to purchase an ambulance every year from here on out, because with the contract with the county, 200,000 miles is the maximum ambulance that they're supposed to have on them. Obviously, we can get fined for it. If it's over that, we have ambulances that probably have more than that already, and we didn't have the money before, and I think I can at least plead my case to the county that we can do that now. The issue is going to be that limits us. We don't have funds to buy an engine. And we're going to have to probably at our July meeting, have you guys hopefully direct me to go start looking for a bond council, and we did budget for it, to have a bond company come in here and talk about a bond, where in order to facilitate fixing our stations, make them more friendly and capable of carrying the load of people we're gonna have to hire. now and for probably the next 20 or 25 years, even long after we're all gone. We need to set this place up for it to be right. So we're going to have to look at that. We're also gonna have to use, hopefully if we're successful with the bond, use that to purchase an engine or two. We just looked at True North. They just showed us an engine that, and don't quote me, through Hillsborough Clackamas just purchased. Something that we're gonna take our crews over to take a look at, $1.2 million. And we bought the Rosenbauers for $600,000, $558,000 or $580,000 a piece 3-4 years ago. And now an engine, and this is of course a custom cab. Our Rosenbauers are not custom cab. So custom cab adds on average $150,000 to it. So now you're looking at $750,000-800,000 for an engine. With just a few modifications to tweak it to make it work for that department, it took the cost over $1 million. So with us purchasing the ambulances, which we have to because 80% of our calls are medical, it does not leave a lot of meat on the bone left to, unless we see a bunch of increase in tax revenue or a bunch of housing subdivisions come in or more commercial. We're going to be pretty stagnant with, we'll be able to keep the doors open and do what we're doing, but we won't have a lot of play money. And so, SDL wants to come back and talk to you guys about, I know it's been almost 2 years, but we had the board retreat where we talked about, the mission, vision, value statement. They have all that. So Jeff wants to come back and talk to you guys. He was trying to do it this week and he just couldn't make it work. So probably at our July meeting, have him show up and we can talk about that. And we really do need to probably have another budget or another board workshop, and we need to start talking about a bond council. And my recommendation would be is we open it up to members of the public at large, have folks come in and we basically go through what does this department truly need? And our stations are antiquated. Clearly, Rick was here. Rick knows that our stations are on average at least 50 years old. Some are older than that. And they were set up for 1 or 2 persons to be at the station, not 4 or 5 or 6 that we need now. So we're going to have to look very hard at what we need and then what that's going to be a cost. And then how do we make it cost effective to the taxpayers to consider for a bond? So anyway, I do appreciate everything you gentlemen have done and support. This is my second year. First year I was the interim chief. Second year, this is my first year as the chief. So I'm still learning. I am still growing in the position and I still have a ways to go. So please bear with me. And, I don't expect to stub my toe. At least I'm going to try to avoid it as best I can. But at the end of the day, we have very limited staff and you guys are well aware of that. And so just making sure our folks have the best equipment and best training they can have, go out and take care of the public. That's our priority. And everything else hopefully take care of itself.
Are we gonna get a ladder truck?
We need one. We need a Quint, and you're looking at, I mean, if an engine is 1.1 to 1.2, you're probably looking at probably 1.9, almost $2 million for a Quint. We do, but the problem is the St. Helens station can't house it. It's, what's the door, Rick? 10.9, 10.11? It's not even 11.
They're 11-foot doors. I was said that we need to build a drive-through bay.
Oh, that far side.
in that alley between the old Midway building. Cause that station won't handle a ladder truck.
It won't, and then we'd have to obviously move where everybody parks, but that's an option. So that's the stuff.
Isn't there issues with setbacks from the property line and stuff like that?
We looked at it before and the city they weren't opposed
I
to it.
think they would let us do it, because we looked at it once before.
Yes.
Just building another bay on, that was taller, to have a drive-through for that.
What we'd have to do is obviously there's fire code between the two buildings would have to be adhered to, which is not major, but again, that's,
Yeah.
or do we build, or do we find a spot for another station? Or, I mean, is there a better location? The St. Helens station is the St. Helens station, and actually law enforcement, St. Helens PD actually owns a portion of it, and we have a portion of their land. It's very weird how it was done back in the day. And hopefully I can reach out to the city and talk to the new police chief and maybe we find some way to get it back to where they can have their land and we can have ours. Because that might muddy the waters just a little bit, but clearly Fairground Station, it's meant for 2 people. So was Deer Island. We need to expand those if we're going to keep those stations where they can house 4 or 5 people in the future, because you might have an engine ambulance or 2 ambulances come out of those stations. And our stations were built in the 70s and it's been 50 years. And so 50 years ago, no one thought they'd have more than 2 people at the station. So 50 years from now, we're probably going to wonder how could we not have 10 people at the station? So, I think we will definitely look at probably July, talking about a board retreat where we said we can come in here and whiteboard the stuff. What does the district actually need? And then how do we go about getting it, get prices, and then we start talking to a bond company to help us, maybe go for a make bond. 3215 says they're on board with it and are volunteers, because as board members and as the chief and the admin staff, we cannot, SDO is very specific about what we can or cannot say about it. We basically only state facts. We can't say we can't push it. But our union can, so can the volunteers. So if we're gonna be successful, we're gonna need their help to get it done. So other than that, that was it. Probably just wanted to just do a brief overview that, I mean, the union contract we did in 3.5 days. So what, I mean, of work, that's pretty amazing. The MOAs that we got done when we had to make this place stay afloat. And I mean, it's a testament to the working relationships that we have, that we've fostered and developed. And, I don't see that ever going away. So it's important that we maintain those. Do you have any questions for me?
You don't see us having to go to a levy anytime soon, right? Because that's the only thing I could see as an issue is
If you have bond and a levy.
bond and a levy.
So as of right now, and this is obviously, we only did a 1-year contract with 3215. They're well aware that our tax revenue, and then obviously at the meeting last month, you heard KT. We even hedged our bets a little because as Rick pointed out, we're short money now. What if the county shorts us next? And it's not the county shorts. If people aren't paying their taxes, right? It's not the county. It's just we're not receiving the funds that we've been allotted. So we're hedging our bet that especially if Dino does close, probably won't be this next budget year, but the budget year after that where we'll see the impact of Dino. And from what we can gather, it's gonna be somewhere between $200,000 and about $300,000 impact to our budget. So again, as long as stuff's coming in, that more homes being built, more commercial business coming in, as long as they're not in the enterprise zone. But the problem is even every fire district we have in the county has some type of enterprise zone, and those enterprise zones are killing fire departments because they're adding capacity to the system, and we don't have the members to respond to it clearly. So
Is it 5 years? I think I asked this before. It's 5 years, isn't it? They don't pay taxes and then.
they can vary it. It can be different. They can be as low as 3, they can be 5, they can renew it. And there's been some, I can't think any in our district so far, but I'm aware of some around the state where they just keep renewing it. Oh, we'll do it again for another 7 because they don't want the company to go away. So there are dangers to it, and Oregon Fire Chiefs and some of the other organizations have been trying to reach out to our state representatives and realize that the emergency services should not be included when it starts talking about that. A school, I mean, I get it, schools need it, but if you're building a factory and the factory's not doing anything, it's not necessarily hurting the school. But at that factory, like Boise was, we're responding probably 3 or 4 or 5 times a week to Boise. When it was fully operational, they were all stood up there, because there are a lot of people there. If you have factories like that come in, yes, that's a direct impact to the department, especially that solar plant they were talking about. 3,000 employees, we'd probably be there multiple times a week, I guarantee you. And so that would be an impact to our district. So having those reasons, at least having the taxes or having some way to generate some of that revenue so we can hire more people or buy better equipment. Absolutely. But that's what's hurting. It's not just here, it's everywhere across the country. So to go back to your question, Austin, so we were 9.3 million, and I think we hedged it. We lowered it down to not 9.1, and we made sure we're underneath that. And all the way for us to be successful, not having to go to levy, is we have to make sure our payroll does not exceed our tax revenue. That's it. So as long as we can maintain that, and the unit's well aware of it. So as we go to negotiation, that we're gonna be talking about that, is a raise definitely will have an impact to that. If we start creating, we're already flirting with it. But we're also hoping that our taxes continue to increase. But if we have a downturn, definitely will. There may be a year where we don't do anything. Not just a pay raise for them, it'd be a pay raise for everybody in the department. This wouldn't happen. We can't afford it. So if we're all in this together, it's not, there was a time when we get a raise 1 year, maybe the admin we get another year, and those days are over with. Either it's all or none. If they're not getting it, we're not getting it. If they're getting it, we're getting it. And it's just to be fair to everyone in the organization. So we're just gonna have to keep an eye on it. We're asking KT to forecast and try to get some ideas so we know what we can or can't do.
Okay. Old business. New business. Budget approval FY fiscal year 25-26.
Before you guys vote to approve, sir, even though there's no one sitting here, we still have to call for, any public comment. And you say do it 3 times. If we, just to be fair, just in case somebody wanders in, says they want to make a statement, they can.
Okay. Any public comment?
During online too.
No.
Okay. Okay, any comment? Anybody have any? Any comment? Okay. Resolution FY 24 25 budget approval. Everyone can make a motion to approve the resolution?
You haven't answered me on my question. Chief,
Which question, Rick? I'm sorry.
about the categories being off.
Yeah, so if you look at the printed page on page 23, they line up. So if we had it fixed and when it prints, everything shifted down, that's.
It didn't shift down,
Oh, no, I mean, it's correct.
23.
It's corrected. So
page 23.
if you look at page 23, Rick, all the lines, everything lines up going across. So I meant to say was it was, so I don't know if it's something when it got emailed, possibly, but it's not, it's been this way for at least 2 weeks. It's been corrected. So, Kate and KT took care of it. I don't know why it was screwy on yours, Rick, or why it showed up like that. I'm not sure. But Kate printed this is the exact copy off of what you, the board was sent.
Just read the old statement on the back, that was. That's for
Yes,
the motion.
yes, sir.
So the board, okay, I'll make a motion for the resolution, FY 24 25 04. Budget approval for fiscal year 25-26. The Board of Columbia River Fire Rescue has approved the fiscal year 25-26 budget, which was approved by the Budget Committee on May 8th, 2025. The budget meets the total requirements of $14,268, 900, or $14,268,995, and has been publicly posted with the LB1 online and in our local newspaper as required by ORS 294.448.
In a second?
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
One thing I,
Next one through it.
yeah. Hey, Rick? Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Aye.
I,
Okay.
Yeah. Was that enough?
I'll just have you guys sign all three at the end.
All right, then we have the resolution. FY 24 25 05, it's the approval of the millage rate. Do anybody want to make a motion to? No.
Can we agree to do that or just, oops. How much? That was, yeah, that.
On the back page.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the resolution FY 24 25 05. Approval of the millage rate. The Board of Columbia River Fire and Rescue has approved the FY 25 26 budget and millage rate of 2.933, or not, 2.9731 out of 1,000, which the Budget Committee approved on May 8th, 2025. The millage rate was unchanged for the fiscal year 25-26 with the previous year and remains the same. The budget meets the total requirements of $14,268,995 and has been publicly posted with the LB1 online and in our local newspaper as required by ORS 294.448. Right numbers.
Wow, can I get a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Candidate? Okay. All approved? All for? Aye.
Aye.
Get an aye?
Aye, yeah.
Okay. All right, that one passes. Okay. Now we have resolution fiscal FY 24 25 06 approval of the fee schedule. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the fee schedule for, or that resolution FY 24 25 06 approval of the fee schedule fiscal year 25-26.
Did it change at all?
The fee schedule. This is new, so this is so, it moved in second, we can talk about it. So I've looked at Scappoose and I looked at,
Oh, second it.
sorry.
Discussion.
Okay, sorry, my bad. So, we reached out to Miller Nash, asked about a fee schedule. I had a very short fee schedule. Miller Nash fired back with a number of ones, Twelve Valleys, Clackamas, Portland's. I already had Scappoose. And so what I did was I took the fee schedule and this is something that we'll be able to have online. And, that we can present to folks when they're asking how much we charge for certain things. And so one of the things that you guys approved in the budget was a driveway inspection fee. So we've never done that. Scappoose Fire's been doing it, Twelve Valley does it, basically everybody else does it. I've driven as far as 45, 50 miles round trip to go out to do driveway inspection, and there's time loss and there's fuel and wear and tear on the vehicle. So instituted that's what started this fee schedule. So by Miller Nash giving us some options, 12 Valleys, I like the best. It's basically not quite a cut and paste, but pretty close to cut and paste what 12 Valley had. And we just adjusted our cost to meet that and to meet what Scappoose is charging. Chief Schrotzberger, Kate did talk to System Design West, and we believe that there was a annual roll up on our medical transportation charges. That never took effect. Chief Cole said he was working on it. Apparently it didn't happen. And so we're instituting that as we have whatever the standard CPI is for, there'll be a roll up. So this is the new ambulance revenue rate is up 2%.
Yeah.
2%. So it's like $25 for this year. We also made an adjustment, and we had not made adjustments to fire med in a very long time. Fire med even said that you guys probably should raise your rate. So there was a $5 increase in fire med where we recognize what fire med is. And it's a great program. We want to maintain it, but it had been $50 since probably before I was here. I mean, Rick worked here way longer than I did. It's probably been a long time.
So what, $15?
So no, it went up. It's been up to 60. We went up $5 more. So again, the same thing as but we don't have anything that with a document for this. So this was a document, and a lot of they've done a lot of the major lift with the ORSs and the OARs regarding that. And so I put this together for your review and approval. And it should cover just about anything that we would need to charge for. There's a fireworks permit this time of year. I get at least a dozen of those. And I mean, we've been doing it for free for a long time. So there's late fee for inspection and approval of fireworks stand. And so this will not take effect till July 1, if approved by the board tonight.
With the non-emergency medical responses, is that? So I see like first, second, third, fourth, and then we start. So that'd be charging for refusals, is that right? Or what's your thought process on that?
And ultimately, at the end of the day, they can, if there's an issue where we keep going back to a folk, that's why we have the community paramedic program that Scappoose took over. They have 2 community paramedics. If we're going to a place multiple times, we're going to get the community paramedic to go over there and talk to these folks. It's clear they have something going on. We're not wanting to impact folks unnecessarily. So we are compassionate. We can have a little bit of wiggle room in there. And if it really truly became a major incident, they can come to a board meeting and ask you guys to, you know, waive the fee, yes. So, it's honestly, this is more for we haven't had one in a long time, including truly the community paramedic program has helped a lot. Is when we have those, we identify as somebody that uses the system well above what the average is. Then we have one of those ladies go out and talk to them, and then find out what help they actually need, because 911 is not what it's there for. So there is some wiggle room in there, Austin. It's not, we're gonna charge it just because we're on the fifth one right off the bat. But there will be we'll try to get them help first. But if it's abuse of the system, then, or at least perceived abuse of the system, then there could be a fee attached to it. We just don't have that. We don't have the ability now. One of the things I am going to go working on with OSFM is actually being able to find folks for illegal burns and some of this, and burning yard or burning waste that's not. We don't have that luxury. ODF does, but it's actually a pretty low fine. If you're burning something and ODF comes out, I want to say it's like $120 the first offense. And they can go to like 200 the second. It's pretty low. But we do have some people that I want to find out the legalities of that with Miller Nash first, and work with State Fire, the Oregon State Fire Marshal, to find out what we can or can't do. There's going to be a living document. This is going to be adjustable, and as we determine other things that we may need to charge for, we'll bring it back to the board for approval.
Yeah, that's the only part I don't love is, I know, having worked in the field, we get a lot of like near end of life where we're doing a lot of assist type things. And does it all just automatically like fifth one, does that automatically get billed?
No, we would have to send that to the side west. We would have to, if it's identified of our crews, like, hey, this is the 15th time we've been out there and it's not an end of life, it's somebody that's just.
I see where both sides of it. I see where it's like, hey, this is getting ridiculous, so. But then I see a lot of times where there's a lot of need towards there.
100%.
The community paramedics do an awesome job of
Yeah.
filling in. Obviously, the hospice nurses are ridiculously good at their jobs. I just worry about that, like where it's like people need that help in that last
Yes,
year,
sir.
the last couple of years.
It's not an automatic on the fifth, and on the fifth one, you're gonna get a bill. We would have to actually take the information, and then we'd have to we'd have to have the information to send it off. So
And then what's the legality of us billing some people and not billing others, if that?
well, that would be a great question for Lauren Ash, and that's somebody I'd have to ask them, because I'll say don't. But it would have to also be identified by our crews if we're going there that many times. There's one example of a resident in our community where we were going there 3 times a week. And it was, and there never was a transport. It was just, but the call took 35-40 minutes. We lost an ambulance. So if it's not an actual medical emergency, that might be where they'd see something like that. So again, I think there is some, if there's an end of life thing, there's something we're trying to help folks. That's what the community paramedic program's for. So we identify that early enough that we're going to send them there first and try to get them the help they need.
Now what happens if somebody gets billed and doesn't pay it?
We're
Still gonna show up.
We'd still show up. We would never, we would never violate that.
So in end of life situation, they keep getting these bills and they're stacking up and they're not in a place to pay them or understand what they are. We're still gonna show up or they're gonna service.
We've never not. So we'd be in violation of the ASA if we did.
Yeah.
And then the legality of the lift assist, has that been gone through by Miller Nash? Or
Again, these are, Miller Nash sent this to me. So this is what Tualatin Valley, Portland, all of them have that in there because and I'll be honest, where I worked before in California, we were lifting people off the floor. There's 10 staff standing there. We're like, what are we here for? We're not allowed to pick them up. And our city instituted that because they were just used us for free labor. And they didn't want the liability. Well, the problem was that's why you're a care facility. You should be able to help somebody else. Now, if they're clearly hurt, call 911. We come take care of them. So I did make these numbers up. This basically took this from Tualatin Valley. Eric?
yeah, I went through all the other ones. The only one that I said that I don't love is the not word of that.
And again, I didn't come up with this, I just literally took it from Twelve Valley, and Portland had it, Clackamas had it, I don't know, I didn't see one in Scappoose, Scappoose was a lot shorter, but these were just longer ones from these bigger agencies.
Do you have any suggestions of what it should look like or different idea?
I mean, I don't know. I don't love the idea of billing people for those refusals, because a lot of times it's kind of a, hey, we're here to help you out. A lot of times it's, I'll say, we can assist you into your car kind of a thing. Like if it's not ambulance type thing. So a lot of times it turns into that. Like, I don't, that's the only one where I'm caught up on, but.
How does that kind of stuff happen?
So we get some are diabetic, right? If somebody gets their low blood sugar and we go over there and our folks start an IV and they give them dextrose or they give them glucagon or give them some type of medication, right? That we're starting IV, that's cost to the district that we're not recovering. So we're doing this, or somebody that has COPD and we give a nebulized medication. They take that nebulized medication, there's still a cost borne to the district that we're not recovering. And this was, I believe that's what they're doing. We're charging 150 so they can recover the cost of the expense of the materials they used on the patient.
Is there a way we could bill for the supplies instead of?
Well, then,
Yeah, that's.
honestly, Austin, that's why it's only $150. It's not for the time of the ambulance. We're not charging for the time of the personnel.
Yeah.
It's just on average for a basic medical call, nasal cannula or a mask, and you start an IV on them, you're looking at somewhere between $100 and $150 in materials. And the district uses that. We do have a lot of calls where we go and help somebody. And if it's a one-off, no big deal. But if we're going back there because they're bad at managing their blood sugar, again, that's where the community paramedic we reach out to and say, hey, you might want to go out and talk to these folks. And that program should hopefully quell this. So we haven't had, to be honest, we haven't had frequent flyers that we have where, there was some where we'd go back to the same call, the house 200 times in a year. And so 200 times versus that's far more than 4 or 5, 6 that, so if you guys want, I can strike it. We can't, you guys can still approve it without that portion if you don't want it in there. All I did was I literally just took what Twelve Valley had and made a few tweaks to it, just added and put it in a document that looks like ours.
Oh, I like all the rest of them for sure. That's the only one that I personally do not like, but. And I get there's a need at times for, and that's, but yeah, then there's that.
Austin, if you got another suggestion on how to word it, if you guys got another suggestion, please give it. Again, we would have to bill them, right, for it. So, and if, if myself, Chief Wonderly or Chief Rock, we're unaware, like they're not telling us, we might see we go to the same address, but it might not dawn on us that they're actually going there multiple times. It would be the one that continually calls us back. We haven't had, honestly, we haven't had one like that in a long time, but not having it in there would mean if we didn't have it, then we can't do it. So. Yeah.
Well, and like you said too, we can, they can always come to the board and plead their case and then we can waive the fee.
Right, so Chief Smythe,
Yes, sir.
what I'm hearing is it's kind of a discretion call, right? So it's in there, you can be using it, but you don't have to.
Correct. Yes, sir.
I think that's completely appropriate.
And again, the fact that we now have 2 community paramedics in Columbia County, or 3 technically, I think Miss has one, I don't know if Miss has one or not. We did have 3. When we identify these folks, we send their information over to the community paramedic and they reach out and try to talk to them and help these folks manage their medication or get the help they need, thereby reducing the stress on the 911 system. So, but not all those, and those ladies are pretty busy, so not all of them can be effective. And so this just gives us an avenue if we needed to recover funds for the expensive materials we use.
And again, I can't stress enough, then at the end, if they truly don't have the money and, right, they can come and plead their case to
Yes,
the
sir.
board and we have the discretionary as the board to say, okay. Waive the fee.
Yes, sir.
That's something their insurance would pay for.
I think that's what we'd start with, is what probably build their insurance. So, that's where we'd start. I wouldn't want to bill Eric Wonderly $150. It would be build your, Edna or whoever you got and see if we can recover the funds that way.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't wanna rack up, I don't want somebody having, 300 visits at $150 a pop, then they owe $20,000, so. Clearly, if we recognize that, this is supposed to be an alarm bell for us, that they need other help that we can't provide. And so trying to find them the help they need before before it ever got to something like that.
Yeah,
Any more questions?
yeah, I mean. Yeah, that's the only one
Yeah.
that.
Mark?
I didn't quite catch all that.
Do you have any questions? More questions?
I don't. I think, where we're at with this, I get where Austin's coming from, but I think the fact that we can make a decision, or the chief or whoever can make a decision based on the amount of calls and using the community paramedics, I think we should leave it in there.
All in favor?
I,
I,
Aye.
I'm gonna vote no, just for that one.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, the ayes have it. Okay. Board members' comments.
I appreciate it. Like I said, from where I started to where we are today is night and day. I think anything we can do, and I look forward to seeing what the district can become and continue to improve. So I'm happy with where we're going. The only thing I was gonna ask is, do we have an academy going right now, people?
We do, and I apologize. So as of right now, we have, 3 in academy, and we have some others that are in the queue that we're looking in, I think, August for the next academy. Roughly, we're trying to give our single roles, or I'm sorry, Division 9, Medic 9 crews a break. They've been precepting or basically FTEPing folks, new hires. And so we're starting to give them the month of July before we start the next group. So by the time they get done with backgrounds, the psych and the medical physical, they'll be ready and we'll put them into FTEP. And then so then probably maybe September is probably the next academy. And that should hopefully bring us back up to our 30. That's where we hope it to
And
be.
that'll be 9 this year that we've hired. Roughly
Yeah, rough,
9 firefighter.
correct.
Sweet.
I will reiterate what Austin said as far as where we started and where we're at now. We lost some pretty good guys. Some good battalion chiefs who moved on, and the proof of where they landed in their positions was a testament to how good of a job they did. And so I'm happy that, and thankful that my chief, one of we stepped up, and Francie stepped up as well. And there's other people down there that are in leadership positions now, and because I've heard on many occasions how the firefighter staff, they're young, less than 5 years of experience for a lot of these guys. So to have you guys still here and step up and train and mentor these kids and, young adults, right? So, and further their career in the industry, I think is important. That's all I got. Okay.
I do have one question. The camp did that ever happen, the camp for high schoolers?
No, we had one kid put in for it. So I talked to Lieutenant Chandler. In September, when school comes back, we're gonna go back probably the first couple weeks. And we're looking at probably in October. And that way we can, both St. Helens and Rainier have asked about us doing a fire science program. I need to ensure it can't just be myself or Chief Wonderly. We have to, because if we're gonna teach, if we're gonna commit to it, we're gonna have to commit to it. And it's either gonna be, the Rainier School's only 4 days a week. So I was talking to the superintendent, he's like, well, would you guys just do it on a Friday from like 8 to noon or something like that? So there might be a possibility. They all come back in July after their little kind of hiatus, when school's out. And we'll probably start a conversation. I don't think we're ready for it yet, because the other issue is the cost. So there is a cost born of it, and I don't think it's fair to the fire district. So it's something the school could see about a grant or something where I think having more, I still think firefighting's a blue collar job, but a blue collar work, being taught to the juniors and seniors of the high school, I think would be huge. So I think good first step would be that camp weekend where it might be a Saturday, Sunday, have the kids come out, they get a tribe, we'll feed them, and they get to spend a day in life in the fire service.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple aspects to it, right? You could be a wildland firefighter, you could be a paramedic on the ambulance, you could be a fire investigator, you could be a fire mechanic. I mean, there's multiple roles in the fire service, not just being a firefighter, that kids might be attracted to.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that whole thought, blue collar jobs being promoted.
Yes, sir.
I like the idea of like, there was maybe one Friday, maybe not for a season, but one, couple of firefighters could go up and maybe do something, or volunteers, or train the kids, that'd be.
Well, if we did, so MIST is doing the program right now, and they do teach every single day. Scappoose also has a program, they're teaching every single day, and I'm assuming Austin Chief Pritchard does the bulk of the teaching.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, so it would fall down, if we're gonna do it, I don't think we can do 2 high schools, I think it's too much.
Yeah.
I would like to start with either like Rainier or something small that we can try if it's successful. And we have a lot of, and as Ryan just alluded to, we have a lot of young people that are excited about being in the fire service. If they're willing to help, again, we did this in Arizona 25 years ago. And each one of us taught, and the school paid us $25 a day. And it was just something they paid us just for the 1 hour we taught. But we taught, there's guys that I taught in those classes, one of them's battalion chief now, and the other one's division chief. I mean, these are guys that went on to the fire service and find a job. We only did it for 3 years. So it is a program that I think would be beneficial to our community, because honestly, Columbia County is blue collar. I mean, it's a blue collar based county. And so I think it'd be great to at least start that. If we can get some of our younger firefighters that are interested in it, come out and start help teach.
Yeah. Cool, thanks.
The comments. Okay.
Mark, do you have anything?
Yeah, no, I just was gonna congratulate the whole organization for really turning this thing around. You guys have done a fantastic job. Everybody from you, chief, all the way to 3215, everybody's done a great job. It's pretty impressive to see. So thanks for doing that.
Thanks, sir. Sorry, I forgot Mark was on.
At the table.
I'll be at the next one, I promise.
All right, we'll see you at the next.
Okay, well, if there's no other comments, then it is 6:51 on June 12th and 6:52, and I hereby call the meeting adjourned. Shut off the owl.
So our next meeting will be in Rainier. Paul, it's okay to use the church still.
Yeah.
So we'll